Okay, hello.
Go.
Go. Hello, 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 hello.
We need to drop the link.
Drop the link, we're here. Digital and Music and Masters, episode 3. Got the stream going right now.
We need to drop that link into the event. The link of this. So
I'll let you do that.
Yep.
Hello, we are here, episode 3, live stream. We're still quite new to live streaming. We've got loads of different live streaming. We're live streaming now live on YouTube, the Tomas Tube, Thomas George on YouTube, and then we're also live on Facebook.
How do I?
So if you're watching now live, give us some thumbs up, give us some likes, so we know you're watching.
Are we live on? We are live.
We're live right now.
Don't know how to share it. We need to share it into the group. Bear me a second, guys. Ah, woo!
Okay, Chris is still trying to work out this live stream stuff. Yeah, so today, episode 3, we're going to go over vocal production because Christopher and I have been producing a lot of vocals recently. And before we talk about some of the hints and tips we've learned from recording people recently.
Where is the event? I put it up here anyway, so I'll just
Christopher
go into that.
Still trying to figure stuff out. But anyway, so we've been doing a lot of vocal production at the moment. Recording a few different singers for the last couple of weeks. We recorded a rapper, a pop singer, and also a singer-songwriter. So we thought we'd tell you about some of the hints and tips and stuff that's been going on whilst we've been going through this vocal production. One of the main things I realise is we don't necessarily need really expensive gear. Some of the best recordings we've actually got from this have been from using what is it?
This
microphone,
SE Electronics
SM58, which is pretty ridiculous.
Oh yeah, that. Yeah,
pretty ridiculous, yeah. So some of the best results from a 58.
Oh right.
Got much other mics around here, but
okay, where's the chat bit? Oh, it's here, super chat. No, it's that top right, isn't it?
This is
hello!
Not used to this.
I think thinks it's in portrait mode, you know. The phone. Let me get to the thing. I think the phone still thinks it's portrait, but we'll see.
Okay.
We'll see. And it does. I could tell because. Hey guys. Okay. We need to fix that.
Okay, reset that one.
Just stop.
So, welcome to DMM episode 3.
Hello and welcome to episode 3. In this one we're going to talk about vocal production.
We are.
Excellent.
So the last few weeks Christopher and I have been recording various different singers, and we want to tell you about some of the stuff we've learned from recording singers. So yeah, hello Heavy Metal Mixer, we're back online.
That's John. Hello John, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, we
had a bit of an issue.
We're still new to live streaming, it's still not the smoothest thing in the world. So yeah, we're back online, so is how it is. Yep,
so okay, so we've been doing lots of vocal production over the last few weeks. What have you learned?
It's more about getting the singer in a good mood and getting them to give their best performance on actual gear and technology. Yeah,
I agree. And it's interesting always to find unexpected results out of unexpected gear and unexpected situations.
Yes.
Like we've been doing this in a home studio with modest equipment for sure. I mean, we've been using an SM58, which is obviously known as a stage mic more than anything else.
Standard, like
SM58, yeah.
Budget, like less than $100 microphone, like £8 microphone.
And an SEX1 large condenser, large diaphragm condenser.
I'm just going to grab all the mics while you're talking.
Yeah, that's fine. Large diaphragm condenser, and
there's this one.
A Focusrite 2i2. So it's very much the same stuff that that people are using at home, getting started. And in terms of software, we've been using Logic Pro 10. And it's amazing what you can get when you just use some basic fundamental principles in recording, in production technique, things that aren't immediately obvious to people, like not recording ridiculously hot into Logic, not being ridiculously close to the mic. A lot of things that you don't necessarily see in music videos.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Things like, recording at a healthy low level and such things. So we've deployed those practices, things that we know that work, and we've got great results out of Modest gear. I mean, I've been mixing some of this stuff, and I've been blown away by some of the results, especially with James's stuff. That was insane. Like, that was.
What do we use? That
was a last-minute decision. Like an SM58. Why not? You know, we wanted to try different things, and you know, it's easier to assume like, oh, the most expensive gear is best, and that's going to get the best results. But you know, best practices plus choice of microphone plus the singer's voice. Sometimes, you know, all of those things aren't necessarily the most expensive or the most glamorous. Yeah, and I hope that I think we've showcased that quite well. I think we've, I think this is proven to be a cool experiment in a way, like a cool showcase of getting great results with Modest equipment.
Yeah, because we're creating this Logic Pro course about vocal production, we actually didn't use some of the equipment that I've got.
Yeah.
Because we purposely wanted to make it quite entry level, so we didn't use any outboard gear. We didn't use any mics that cost over like $200.
Yeah.
Just so if you're at home, you can get something similar, which is quite interesting, really, because I'm kind of used to using like quite expensive microphones a lot of times.
Yeah,
so it's quite good to use kind of the more entry level mics and get some good results. Which, it doesn't really matter like what you use as long as it's good enough. But it's more important about how the singer performs, what state of mind they're in, getting them in a relaxed mood, and like having fun really a lot of times recording.
Because when you're working with other people, it's one thing working at home by yourself just for fun, but when you're working with other people and you know you've dedicated some time to do this, you've asked you've asked people to take time out their day, you realise when push comes to shove, it's about getting the job done.
Yeah.
And
Got a question from Ski Jump Toes. Currently trying Reaper after years and years of Logic, and I must say I really like the customization and device-specific input on all of the MIDI channels, etc.
Yeah, Reaper's great. Reaper's ridiculously powerful. How do you deal with not so good vocal performances? The vocal performance, the performance is the performance. I mean, you do your best to make the vocalist feel as comfortable and feel as confident in their skin as possible.
Don't get them to push out their range. You get singers like, I don't know, like I don't know his name, the guy from New Order. Like, he's not technically the best singer in the world, but New Order have got some cracking songs, and he only really sings, I don't know how, doesn't really sing many octaves, doesn't really sing very much, but it's more about just creating great melodies that don't necessarily push yourself too hard. Because if you're pushing yourself too hard, unless you're Mariah Carey or Jeff Buckley or someone like that with a huge vocal range, it's generally going to ruin the song. So just sing in a few notes, really, I'd say, if you're not so good. You can do little tricks, of course, like auto-tune and, vocoders, but I'd say, just use a few notes.
Yeah. Just, I mean, make sure the vocalist is staying in their lane and their realm of comfort, really. Make sure that things like having the headphone mix that makes them feel comfortable is a big thing.
Yeah.
Like, Naomi likes a certain preset that she sings into.
Like some singers like to have reverb when they sing. Some singers like to hear themselves back. Some singers don't want to hear themselves back. Some singers get really kind of a bit annoyed if there's any kind of latency or delay. So sort out all the latency problems, sort out all the delay problems, and that way, just want to make the singer like relaxed, be in a good mood, and then they can give their best performance. So that's really what it's about. It's about capturing the singer's best performance, not really about using the fanciest microphone or using the latest preamp or whatever.
Yeah, it's not about you and your gear, it's about them. The moment you're the producer and they're the vocalist, you kind of work for them.
Yeah.
But your job is to first get them to feel great and make sure that that performance is translating into the best possible recording.
Yeah.
And that involves all of the above. It's easy for us to talk about gear and plugins online and endlessly. It's because it's easy to discuss those things. It just frankly is easy. But what isn't easy to talk about and is completely different every single time is them, the vocalist. And yeah, simple as that. But it's difficult to talk about that because it's actually mostly people skills. It's like actually, it's all of that. So yeah, we've been in this course, we've been doing this project. We've had a few different vocal styles.
Quite a while now.
Yeah.
This is probably the longest amount of filming for the shortest amount of actual content.
The input-output ratio is very insane.
We're filming loads of actual videos and then editing them really, really far down. Just so when you watch back, it's not full of fluff. We've got some more. We've got another question from Ski Jump Toes. Do you guys ever get OCD about the tech aspects to the point where it hits creativity? For example, if I record a vocalist on my MacBook and it's low on HDD space, I'm really tight on using takes. Yeah, exactly. Make sure your gear's top spec.
Yeah.
Make sure you're ready to record, or you're not going to be in the right headspace. Like loads of stuff, like even like doing live streams or something. Make sure the live stream equipment is set up just before you go.
But on the day, you need to get out of your head. You need to deplete your. I mean, things like the technical stuff, you just need to solve that problem beforehand. Otherwise, it's going to be a problem on the day.
Have you ever done a DJ gig where the equipment just fails just before you're about to play and stuff like that? Or you snap a string in your guitar just before you're about to get on stage. You have to feel comfortable when everything is not comfortable.
Yeah, I mean,
or at least look like you're comfortable. Because if you're stressed out, if you're freaking out, it's going to freak out the singer. If the singer's freaked out, they're not going to be comfortable and not going to give a good performance. So yeah, I do get a lot of OCD so that equipment. Let's just see the amount of cables here. We've recently just moved a load of stuff around, so now I don't know where anything is. So yeah, it does. Yeah, is the answer. I do. But try and ignore it as best you can. Another question from Ski Jump Tones. I visited my mate in his studio and was shocked by the amount of takes he uses. I can't seem to separate myself from the technicalities. Hard to explain, really.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, but you know, just in your comment that it's something that you have to manage. We all have to manage it, and it's just part and parcel, really. Yeah. It's not easy. It just is, though. Simple as that, to be honest. I mean.
Yeah, so heavy metal mixer 91. Yeah, people skills are important.
Because that's all it is. Actually, it's just people business, isn't it? It's that's all we are.
People don't necessarily want to work with the best person. They want to work with the person that they get on with the most. Obviously, you need to know your stuff. But if you're having a laugh with them, you're having fun. It's good banter, it's good rapport, and you get the job done, and they enjoy themselves. They come away from that recording session having like a really positive outlook on you and what you did. They're a lot more likely to want to work with you again than if you're just kind of that bland, boring person who kind of made the whole session dry. I think. Ski Jump Toes, another question. I think I'm on point. I think the point I'm making is that getting good vocals may take 8-9 takes. Yeah,
there's nothing wrong with that though.
A lot of it's getting the vocalist warmed up.
Yeah. There's no. You don't have an expectation that it should be a perfect session. No one has that expectation.
We've done recording sessions before.
It's totally normal.
50 takes.
Because the vocalist probably wants to do different takes and get warmed up. So if you're coming in and saying, "Oh, we should have got that one down," you're making them feel uncomfortable, just because you are projecting how idealistic you're being or perfectionist you're being and stuff like that. It's
another tip.
I don't think it's productive.
If they do kind of a bad take, don't tell them it's bad. Just be like, "Oh, that one's all right, but let's do another one for good luck. Let's have another go." So if you just tell them they suck, they're going to get in their head.
But also just be open, have open lines of communication with them, the client. Say how do you feel that went, and stuff like that. Would you like to do more? Whatever, It's all about them. It's all about them. Like it's the same in mixing and mastering. The times I've got clients who have come to me, and they've previously been to the biggest houses out there, the biggest mixing and mastering shops out there, and they went with me because of service, not just results and stuff like
Question
that.
from Ski Jump tells what kind of background do you both have? I have a background in music composition and music production. Chris, your background's more in engineering?
Yeah, my background's in audio engineering, so I run a company called Unlock Your Sound. We provide mixing and mastering services. My background, I started like producing when I was like 15 and stuff. Went to college and university, music technology, sound design, stuff like that. I've done film. I've done lots of different things, but I found myself in audio engineering, and I'm together with Thomas. We're doing digital music masters, so making courses and stuff. I don't have a day job. Thomas doesn't have a day job. This is what we do. It's not easy, but we do it. So how we met because we were both doing similar things online, logic groups and stuff like that. Yeah. I mainly ask because it's hard to find the time for music. Yeah, okay, so everyone kind of has to figure that out for themselves.
You
like,
cut out, you play video games.
Yeah.
I don't know, is there a way of cutting down hours at work? Is there a way of cutting anything out that you don't necessarily need?
Yeah, I mean, I sacrificed everything. You know, a few years ago.
The question from Heavy Metal Mixer 91. What do you think about how most of the vocals are produced now compared to music until 1992?
I don't think of it that way. If I hear a song and if I think the vocals are good, I think the vocals are good. If I think they're bad, I think they're bad. But you know, I don't think these vocals are good or bad. I think this mix is good or bad. This whole thing is good or bad, because you can put vocals of, you know, one style of vocal mix out of one mix and put it into another, and it won't work because it's got a different space. You know,
I would probably say a lot of the music nowadays, most of the pop records are tuned. And before 1992, they weren't. Yeah. Alicia Keys, who doesn't use auto-tune, but generally, yeah, most artists, even like just subtly, they're just tune nowadays, which can be a good thing, can be a bad thing if it's overly done. But I don't know. Yeah. Yeah,
I mean, every effect is you know, has, you know, some people like an effect, some people don't. You know, sometimes the auto-tune effect is supposed to be the auto-tune effect.
Yeah.
You know, it's like back in the day when everyone started dialing too much gain into, like, you know, consoles and amps and stuff like that. The guys in the white coats were like, no, you shouldn't do that. But we couldn't possibly imagine popular music without that stuff these days. Distortion, you know, because that's all of this stuff is. It's just an effect. It's just an input and a different output. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, and sometimes people disagree on what those good and bad things are. I think. Well, I know so.
When did the loudness wars happen?
The loudness wars have always happened.
But when
well, CD is when it really blew up, because the thing with CD is CD on things like vinyl and tape, there is a ceiling. Like you can't print something so loud. Like on a vinyl, they say that you can't print something so loud because of the format of the vinyl. There are limitations within it. But CD was digital. And in digital we have something called full scale, and in full scale nothing happens until 0. It's linear. So that freedom allowed the loudness wars to happen. So yeah, there is that.
Got a few more questions. If you read Jeff Emmerich's book on recording the Beatles, it's interesting to see how Lennon would like to dress his vocals up, really auto-tune.
Hey Chris.
Advancement on that. Okay, I haven't read the book. Have you?
No.
Interesting. Heavy Metal Mixer. Well, tuning vocals it's one thing, but there are many other reasons why vocals now sound different, like overcompression.
Overcompression is a thing. Overcompression is everywhere. Overcompression is motivated by many different things, including loudness. You know, because if you're an artist or a producer and you want your record to be the loudest thing ever. People just immediately associate that with compression, so they compress everything.
Yeah.
You know, people relate compression and loudness because compression helps us get louder stuff.
Shout out to Andy and Ellie.
Hello,
Hi,
hello,
Andy
hello.
from Finland.
Hello.
Hypercompression.
Hypercompression, indeed. So hypercompression is a thing, you know, but compression is a good thing. Like, if we didn't have compression, like if we took compression out of music production, if all of a sudden compression wasn't available anymore, there'll be so many problems that we wouldn't foresee. Not just problems sonically and issues with translation and stuff like that, but work. The amount of work like things would take now just for like managing dynamics and stuff like that. Like especially on small systems, small hi-fi systems. Hi-fi is basically a redundant term these days.
I've still got hi-fi.
Yeah, but hi-fi used to mean high fidelity.
Yeah.
It's not. It's just hi-fi systems now. It's the same thing as calling something a stereo. You know.
Live drums benefit greatly from compression.
Yeah, yeah, they do. Yeah, there are so many good things about but compression is just a tool. It's just a process. You know, you use it well or you don't use it well, but it's a very necessary thing.
A ski jump toes, getting some clicking on the louder parts of your audio on this feed for some reason. It's not too bad, but I thought I'd mention.
All right, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Just turn the gain down. Thank
okay,
you
Chris is also reporting lots of clicks.
Okay, how about now?
Maybe this is better.
Who knows? We kind of yeah. Been doing a lot of filming today, so this live stream wasn't the easiest to set up because we moved everything around.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay.
Let us know if it's
better.
All good. Oh, thank God.
I think we just had it clipping a bit.
Yeah, that's better. Great. So back to this made me remember something. What do you think about doing few but very aggressive moves against many subtle moves on mixes and masters? Generally, my approach to things is I believe the quality of a good mix or a good master is an accumulation of small moves. Yeah, like things that you can't hear but are there, that they subconsciously translate into wow, you know. But like in one of the mixing videos that we did for this course, actually, I had like, if you counted the whole chain, I probably had 7 or 8 compressors.
Yeah, I was about to say.
But each of them were doing like 0.5 dB, and not big. I didn't do that in purpose. That wasn't like one decision to have 8 compressors. It's like I was doing one thing there, and then I did another thing, and then that had to be a thing, and then before you know it, I've got a thing.
All different types of compressors.
Yeah, different types of compressors, different colour, different, you know, different sort of responsiveness, different ways that it handles transients and compresses the body of the sound, and I just love compression. Maybe, I don't know. I have a thing about consistency.
Some Andy.
I have complex mixes with lots of micromanaged parts. Chris, he says, still clicking a little, maybe down a touch more. Okay, thank you, man. I have a thing about consistency. I have complex mixes with lots of micromanaged parts. Verse to chorus. Yeah, yeah, I mean, if your music necessitates that, that's what you got to do, you know.
Depends what
there's not a one-size-fits-all thing, you know. You got to own that. If that's just the way that you prefer to work, if that's just the way that you think as well, you got to own that. Mm-hmm. You know, someone could take my mix and break it apart and say, Chris, you could have done this a lot better this way. I'm like, cool, fine. I'm okay with how I got there.
Yeah.
You know, like, all I really care about is the end result, you know, and my workflow might differ to someone else's workflow, but as long as we are both outputting music that we think is good, then I think everyone wins. Consistency is flow for me. Yeah, so flow, that's a good word for this, you know. Whatever, you know, you got to do whatever helps you flow, you know, creatively.
Yeah, a few more questions. Ski Jump Toes, I really enjoy songwriting and song composition, but never feel over-motivated for mixing. You guys feel enjoyment from mixing, or do you see it as a chore? I prefer songwriting and composing personally, but I do quite enjoy mixing. It can be good. You can see, I would say, maybe try and include mixing as part of your songwriting. You can use some really interesting soundscapes, really interesting effects to use as part of your songwriting. You could always team up with
team up with someone. Yeah. Team up. You don't have to. You don't have to be a mixer.
Do it all yourself.
You don't. Just because you can doesn't mean you should do it. Yeah.
Composer/producer.
That's right.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that you should do it. It doesn't mean just because you can or whatever. You know, just find someone who will do that for you, or find someone like, you know, when you're working with a mixer as well. Like one thing that I like to really hone in on at Unlock Your Sound is like, it's not a transaction. It's not artist goes to mixer, mixer provides mix, invoices, payment. You know, it's a collaboration. You know, find someone who can fill in your gaps and work together on the mix. You know, you have a vision, they might have some ideas for it, have a bit of back and forth and realise something together that you couldn't both.
I would say still learn about mixing, because you need to know about the terminology, you need to know about what you actually want. But if you really don't enjoy it, I'd say team up with someone else and just concentrate on what you're good at, concentrate on what you enjoy.
Yeah, absolutely. Just double down on what you're good at, but at least learn the context and the theory of what someone else is doing so that you can communicate it, you know. John, yes, yeah, I'll go with many subtle moves too. Yeah, do you know what? Sometimes that's actually a really interesting point. When I was doing one of these mixes, I was like, thank God I don't have to do this in analog. You know what I mean? Because this would have cost me $1 million.
A lot of different
I've got too many. Yeah, exactly. It would have cost me a lot of time, a lot of money. There's a lot to gain from producing the hell out of a song. Yeah, there is, man. There is. You know, especially if you're going for that really hyper-produced tune. I think the opposite problem. I enjoy mixing and the production aspects of things a bit too much, to the point that I can't be bothered writing my own songs. You should be an audio engineer, Tino. Yeah, I mean, like, there's nothing wrong with any of this. There's nothing wrong with preferring mixing. There's nothing wrong with preferring the songwriting.
Yeah.
You know, love what you love and do that. And if you can do it in a way that brings value to other people, you're going to have a really easy time sleeping at night, you know, because, you know, you've made someone else happy.
You don't have to do everything.
Yeah.
Still, you know, jack of all. Yeah.
Yeah, master of none. Indeed. Cool. So.
Well, maybe team up with someone. I'm sure there's plenty of songwriters or composers who want to team up with an engineer.
Yeah, I mean, like when in my opinion, provide to that person.
This is from Heavy Metal Mixing.
Oh yeah, sorry, I didn't read the first one. Provide value to that person, not just by offering a product, but by helping, making that person know why you're there to make them reach their goal. Exactly. Mm-hmm. That I couldn't have said it better than myself. It actually sounds, you know, sort of stuff I say to the good people at Unlock Your Sound. I know what you mean, but I also really want to produce my own music. Tino, I know what you mean, but I really also want to produce my own music.
Produce your own music, then.
Cool. I mean, maybe mix for others and produce your own stuff, and then get someone else to mix your stuff, or do an exchange where, you know, you and a friend, they produce, and you produce, but you don't want to mix your own stuff, and they don't want to mix their own stuff, so mix each other's stuff while you're both producing, you know.
I'd say experiment, yeah, like Chris said, have a go.
Yeah.
Producing, have a go mixing, ping pong, collaborate. I'd say the main thing, find other people to collaborate with, and just
you got to collab. Yeah. Tino, move into in my garden.
So Ski Jump Tones wants Tino to move into his shed. I presume to be his mix engineer, or maybe gardener. Who knows?
Yeah, I'm just glad that we're providing a forum for this stuff to happen. That's lovely. Fair enough.
There you go.
Cool.
Yeah, if you two want to collaborate, yeah.
There you go. We're making collaborations.
Yeah. Find each other on Facebook or whatnot, and do that.
Andy's got a great point. I enjoy mix competitions. The Waves Mix Off was an eye-opener pro session. That is a really good point. Remix competitions, mixing competitions, all the things that happen in Facebook groups that I see these days, they're all good things. Any opportunity that where you can have a value exchange with someone else is going to be a good thing, you know, even if you...
Yeah, I'd say go to, what was that conference we went to the other day?
Audio Engineering Society.
Yeah, just anything like that, any kind of workshops, any kind of conferences. Just chat to people there. There might be like an awesome audio engineer that you can work with, or you might be an audio engineer, might find an amazing composer. Like one of my friends, Peter Darlin, I love working with him. I just think he's got an amazing voice, and I just have so much fun writing songs with him. So certain people you just really get on with and gel with, which is always good fun.
Hello, Skip Jump Toes.
Why do you guys do a mix competition? I did a track competition quite recently. Mix, yeah, could do that.
Could do it, absolutely. Yeah. Watch this space. We might do that. Yeah, good idea. Thank you, Ski Jump Toes. But yeah, like things like online competitions and stuff like that are good. There are some programs and stuff. You know, lots of things out there.
I think we should bring it up again.
What?
That slate mic.
Ah.
So can you explain to the people what this is?
So when we were at the Audio Engineering Society conference the other day, I was like, oh, there's the virtual microphone system from Slate. I started talking to Thomas about it, and now Thomas is a little bit obsessed about it.
It emulates all the best
it's
mics.
All of the
all
mics.
Of the best mics.
So many
all
of them.
the mics in one.
All of the mics in one, and you can just, because they had the Raven. So the Raven is a big touch screen, screen.
It's a big touch screen.
It's a big touch screen for like Pro Tools and Logic and Slate stuff. It's a Slate product, and when you've got like a virtual mix rack, so the virtual mix rack is like a plugin that you load, and within that you can load different instances of Slate plugs and move them around like a chain. Anyway, so they had VMS there, and on that you can, as you're using VMS, you can just choose a different microphone. It just is a different microphone when you choose it.
It doesn't say the exact mic, but it kind of hints that.
For reasons they can't say this is that mic, but it is that mic. You know.
Ski Jump Tones has got an interesting question that I don't really understand. I didn't hear about. I didn't know about that, did you?
No.
So apparently someone stole £10,000.
10k from PRS.
Music shop. Okay.
No, it was an audio. It was an audio engineering conference. Slate has proper gear. Their drum MIDI trigger gate looks way cool. Yeah. They've got some great stuff. Steam Slate drums and stuff is all good. They make great products. Slate. They're on top of the game. iLock, yeah. Okay. I mean that's. Yeah. To
be fair,
iLock is a thing.
It's not too expensive.
So
Lillian, have you ever worked on a track that is from a talk box on guitar? No. Have you?
I just let the mastering engineer deal with it. Ooh.
Okay.
Could you elaborate on that? That'd be great. Cheers.
So Ski Jump Toes SSD, so solid state.
No. Steam Slate drums.
I was tired.
Solid state drive too.
SSL.
And they gave me a free upgrade. They are really good like that. Quite a helpful company, despite the crap that Steve gets. Fair enough. Yeah, he does get a lot of flack, but
Why does he get a lot of flack?
I don't know. I think a lot of it's because of the subscription model. And a lot of people are like, oh, you don't own the plugins. In my opinion, that you never own plugins. You only own it until, said plugin company goes, oh, you can't use that one anymore.
I think it's good because they might update the plugins. You can get new versions.
Yeah, and it's just, exactly how much money you need to spend every year on plugins.
Pause it.
You know exactly what that overhead is.
Yeah.
And when you're running a business, it's good to know exactly what your expenses are going to be in a particular category on your books. Andy, it's a thing. Yeah, iLock. Is that what you're referring to? Sorry. Ski Jump Toes. Roland's cloud subscription model.
It's been a long day. It's been a long day.
Sorry. Roland Cloud subscription model. What do you guys think to that? You get to keep one a year too. I don't know. I don't know anything about it, but
I'd say if there's a free trial, check out the free trial. Any of these products, check out the free trial. and if you like it, continue paying. If you don't, cancel it.
One tip that I like for when you're considering buying a product is join their Facebook group, because you just get to know everything. You get to know what people are complaining about. You get to know what people are loving. You get to know it. You know, a Facebook group like Slate has a great Facebook group, and I was on that for like 6 months before I ever bought one of their products. And by the time I bought it, I already knew exactly what I was going to get. I knew exactly what to expect, and I was happier for it. Tino, could you recommend a few decent free vocoder plugin? I couldn't find one for some reason. I can't remember the last time I used one that wasn't the Logic one.
There's one at Ableton.
Yeah, Reason, but that was 11 years ago, I reckon.
There's one at Ableton that's all right. I don't really use vocoders much, to be honest. No. I actually have a microcorg over there somewhere that has a vocoder. I have recorded in kind of, yeah, the audio for. Most
vocoders are good in my experience, but it is quite difficult to understand how they work. Once you figure that out, you can use any vocoder. I do quite like the Logic one. I've always have, probably because I've used it. You know, I first used it 15 years ago, and I was happy with it then. It's more, Ski Jump Toe says, it's more a question on how subs are becoming more popular for audio apps, and it's particularly a big concern if you have projects that are tied to plugins that may not authenticate or your sub ends. I mean, that's not necessarily an issue that's exclusive to subs. That's a software issue. That's an authentication issue. Authentication is very difficult and very not standardized. Every company does it differently. No one can agree on a way to do it. That's not exclusive to subscriptions.
Yeah, Andy says Serum Splice is a good idea. That's what I use. I think I pay like $10 a month. You can buy Serum for $180, or you can pay $10 a month for 18 months. Cancel any time. I thought that's better because if I don't want to use Serum after 6 months, I can cancel, or something better comes out, I can cancel and get that instead. So Tino says the one Ableton Live does do the classic vocoder effect I'm after, but maybe I don't understand how to use it. Yeah, check out some tutorials on that. But the vocoder, yeah.
Jai Chen, I'm really sorry if I didn't pronounce that right, says, what microphones you guys recommend for recording? Totally depends what you're recording. Yeah. Recording a snare drum and recording a flute are two entirely different things. They're quite sparse.
I would say if you want kind of a jack of all trades microphone, I really like the AKG 414. Because it has all different patterns. It's quite an expensive one. It's about $1,000 at £800, but it allows you to choose like the different polar patterns. It's quite interesting. So you can have a figure of 8, you can have an omni, you can have directional, you can have hyper directional. So it's kind of like all-in-one microphone. I really like the 414. What do you say?
SM58 if you're going for really budget.
Yeah, 58
like
of these.
We've got cracking results.
Yeah, we got really good results on
cracking
this budget stage mic.
Yeah.
So if you're just starting off, just start off at 58. You can get SM57, which is similar price as well. Yeah, 58, 57. I like Shure SM7B.
Yeah, SM7B.
Nice. Yeah.
SM57 as well. Even, I mean, it depends if it's vocals, and you're on a budget. You know, a lot of people like the Rode NT1A. I personally haven't used it much. You know, I've got good results out the SE Electronics, but I would challenge most of the people who out there who complain that they're not getting good results out of their cheap gear. I would love to see their process, because I reckon a lot of them are doing some simple things wrong, and they'll just be surprised at how.
Seriously, man, I'm still shocked how we got such good results.
Yeah, and it was like a
Shure SM58, a Focusrite 2i2, and what was it? Where's that little mic on? Some like.
What one?
Shotgun microphone.
Oh, the shotgun
used
mic,
for voiceovers and stuff, for vocal. Not even for instruments necessarily. You just use mics that weren't really the best ones for the job, and it sounded great, really good.
The SM58 as well. When we were recording that with James, that was at least half a meter away from his face. Yeah. You know, we weren't like recording really hot and going way up close. He had an acoustic guitar. You know, he was playing an acoustic guitar as well. And even little things like when I was mixing that, the actual bleed that each microphone was getting from the other instrument, you know, was really helpful.
Yeah.
Like when you do it right, it actually stopped the sound being a dry recorded sound.
If you could do it in one take.
If you could do it in one take, yeah.
We had some more questions. Get a cheap microphone for vocoder from Ski Jump Tones. Yeah, I've got my Korg XL I use for vocoding. You can use the ones in the digital audio workstation. I just think it's fun to play an actual keyboard.
Yeah.
Andy, what does it say? D112VR for kick drum. Use
cool.
That?
No, I haven't recorded drums in quite a long time.
It's been a while for me. Yeah. So Ski Jump Tones, I use a cheap 20 quid SM57. Oh, clone, I was going to say, not that cheap. I would say get the real one. Like, there is a big difference. You don't know where the clone's made. On my Hammond, but look, well, if it sounds good.
Yeah, if it's working, it's working.
Got them originally for sampling dangerous noises like hanging out of a car. That is pretty dangerous. And dragging on concrete. Okay, I wouldn't really do that on my mics, but
that's another level.
If it's
of
only 20, that's another level of fan sounds.
Yeah.
If it's only 20 quid, you could risk that, but I wouldn't use an expensive mic to do that.
Andy's got some cool suggestions here. Thank you for sharing. Much appreciated. It's always good to have suggestions from the community about, you know, microphones and stuff like that. So if anyone's interested in drums and stuff like that, vocals, take some notes out of what Andy's sharing here. It's very cool.
Read them out for people who are watching?
Yeah, absolutely. So Andy says D112VR for kick drum, awesome. Or recently double cartridge Lewitt DTP640 Rex.
I'm use that view.
Any Lewitt mic for Vox, etc. AKG C212. I've tried and liked. Awesome. Thank you for sharing. Active kick drum mic AKG D112 kicks ass. Cool.
Nice.
Good to know. Thank you. Thanks for sharing.
I'm still reading Ski Jump Tones' comment about dangerous noises like hanging out of a car and dragging on concrete.
Well,
I
just want you to be safe. You know, that's all I can ask of you is that you be safe.
I actually want to know what that sounds like.
Yeah, I do.
Want to know what that sounds like.
Yeah.
So if you're in the Digital Music Masters Facebook group, could you post what that sounds like? I'd like to hear that. It'd be pretty cool. Yeah. Okay, yeah, I use where is it over there somewhere? A Zoom H5 for recording fan sounds. I've got a little shotgun mic attachment and the standard XY. That's pretty cool for fan sounds. I've used the Zoom H4 as well, the H4n. I've used the H1 as well, which is pretty useful. But yeah, I like to record fan sounds. I don't think you really need to nowadays. There's so many samples out there. I just do it because it's fun and I want to make something that's unique.
The process is much more fun than downloading samples, though.
Yeah.
And you value the sounds more. When you just download stuff, you don't value it.
Yeah.
You know, you just don't. Like, you have no appreciation for how it was made. But when you went out and you record stuff and you get to organise it and all of that lovely, really nerdy stuff that people like me appreciate, yeah, you get to appreciate it more. But also when you're recording that stuff, when you're out there, you're already thinking about what you're going to do with it. You know, when you're just downloading stuff, it's.
Let's get a little question going on the live stream. If you could only have one mic, which mic would you choose and why? Apart from that Slate one, can't use that. Would you go for, Christopher? One mic only.
Well, you know, there's like the U87 and stuff like that, which is great for everything. But maybe VMS.
Okay.
Not because, well, first of all, when you remove the software, it's an ultra linear microphone. And then when you bring the software back in, it's any microphone that you want it to be.
We just said not that one. Can't have that one.
Did you say that?
Yeah, not the Slate one.
That's probably like something ridiculously expensive than the U87 or something. Just whatever the most expensive mic is available from Neumann or someone, you know?
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
But if you gave me 100 quid, I'd probably get an SM58 or something.
I think the mic I use the most is the I can't remember the name of it. RE20.
Yeah, it's a really good
for
stuff.
Vocals and for
tutorials and
podcasts,
stuff. Yeah,
like that.
it's insanely good.
I really like the RE20. I like the SM7B as well.
What did we use in the cabin for the sound design
We
course?
used the Rode NTG1, which is a little shotgun mic.
I really like the sound of that.
Yeah.
No, wait. What did we use for
that mic there?
What did we use for the mastering course? RE20.
No, that one as well. Part of it. RE20.
For the in the box stuff.
Updates. That one.
No, for the in the box.
Oh, RE20. Yeah.
Yeah, that was solid.
Yeah.
Bono famous for.
I thought Bono. I said that wrong. I thought Bono used the SM7B. Thought, not a 58. I could be wrong. And you can kill people with it. Yeah, this microphone, it's built hard, man. Like this one I used to use for like DJing and stuff, and so it's been dropped a few times. It's got all lumps in it. That's one of the main reasons why I don't own a ribbon mic, and I never will, because I'm pretty clumsy with microphones. I do drop them.
It's quite dented.
Yeah,
you know.
It's quite dented.
It's like got all sorts of dents.
Yeah, so you could
Doing
be
a bit lippy on it as well.
Could be used as a weapon. Yeah.
You can kill people with it. Cool.
Yeah, I prefer the 57 even for vocals. That's the Shure SM57. Yeah, 57 is great. I do like the 57. Andy says the MD41. Who's that? Who's that by?
Can't picture that one right now.
Okay.
Can't picture that. Cool.
Yeah.
Anything else you would like to know? What else have we been doing with this vocal stuff? I've been mixing a lot. Been doing some fancy parallel processes and bussing and stuff like that. You know, I just love bussing. I just love going, hey, you go over there and you go over here, and I want another one of you, and then you go down to this one again, and I bust a bus. If it was like a tree, it'd be literally like that. You know, there's the master bus, and then there's like this bus and those buses, and then some branching out for different sends and stuff. Like a Christmas tree.
Just like a Christmas tree.
And all the lights are my sends. I don't know where I'm going with this, but all the lights are my sends.
Strange analogy. Okay.
Yeah, I'm working on it. No, the sends are the little, you know, at Christmas, and you put, like, I don't know, your mum might put like this chocolate things on the branches.
Yeah. Okay. So
that's my sends.
We've been working quite a lot on this new vocal production course, as you can tell. Christopher's Insanity. Is the stuff you do professionally all electronic, or do you guys get involved with guitar slash rock bass music, ski jump tones? I like to do a lot of alternative rock, a lot of not all electronic singer-songwriter stuff I like to get involved with. I've got involved with like choral stuff, with operatic stuff before, obviously not me singing. Question from Andy.
I just want to answer that question from Ski Jump Toes. In terms of mixing and mastering clients, it varies. It completely varies.
What's the weirdest, or not like not weirdest, most unusual project you've had to do? You've done. I know mine's probably Will's.
Oh.
It's like choral folk. We actually document this in the vocal production course. His is pretty interesting.
Not a lot of things weird me out, but.
Right, moving on. What do you think about that? Andy,
yeah. I'm going to have to get back to you on that.
The last thing you do in the mix is the loudest. Agree?
I don't really... Do you mean the loudest track? I mean, I don't...
Put a limiter on it? Increase gain? I don't know.
I don't really think like that in mixing.
What does it mean the last thing you do in the mix is the loudest? I'm not really sure what that means.
Is it the last track I bring into the mix, or something like that?
The last element.
The last element. I don't really. There isn't really a last element. The last element is just the last thing that I changed the fader gain on, because it just I had to change it.
On vocals, drums.
It's really hard to say. Like, to be honest, I just mix what's there, and it's difficult to say.
Another question from Ski Jump Toes. I read a report earlier on Guitar Center in the States being $1 billion in debt. Ooh. And they're blaming it on lack of guitar icons and less desire for traditional rock music. Do you think it's a concern? definitely when I was growing up, there's a lot more rock music in the charts than there is now. But I guess electronic music's more accessible. You can just need a laptop and a copy of FL Studio or Logic or whatever.
Yeah, just maybe just I don't know why. I mean,
there's still people like, I don't know, like
there's way more.
Foo Fighters are still huge. Yeah. Biffy Clyro, there's
actually way more rock music than there's ever been. It's just relative to what's up in the charts, you know.
Yeah.
I don't think. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know what that data would look like.
I'm guessing it, but I presume there's less more people playing or creating electronic music than playing guitar. But I think talent. Kind of the point that Andy is making, and going back to what Ski Jump Toes said, I think things like this, in my honest opinion, they're relative to talent and being an artist and just being really good at what you do, no matter what sound it is, trivializes all the rest of this stuff. Like, you know, guitars, synths, whatever. That's not what matters as much as the actual message, the song, the music. Yeah.
You know, how the artist goes about expressing themselves. You know, like if the Beatles didn't have guitars and had synths, they'd still be the Beatles. You know what I mean? It's in my opinion, it's just trivial. For me, talent is a misconception. It's about people that spend tons of time and effort on their passion. I include that in talent when I say the word talent.
Yeah.
You know, there is raw talent, but there's executed talent. For me, that just falls under the entire category of talent. Not something you already have to begin with. Yeah, I mean, some people just are talented, but you know, plenty of people are talented. I know loads of talented people who
are lazy,
who have nothing to show for it.
I know a lot of talented,
is that talented
people who are lazy.
Yeah, and for me, that's not even talent anymore. It's like having a great idea but not executing.
Sometimes I think them being talented has made them lazy. They haven't really got that work ethic because they've been
told that they're great all their life.
All the time, so they don't really kind of hustle and don't work as hard. Ski Jump Tones, I think Ed Sheeran has shown that when you actually listen to his music, it doesn't match his rock persona. Well, when he started out, he was a little kid busking. He wasn't really. I guess now he doesn't ever need to get a regular job, so he can just cover himself in tattoos.
And being practical. Yeah, I mean,
doesn't really need to be a. Yeah. I don't know if has he got a rock persona. I don't know. Yeah.
He's a celebrity now.
He's a celebrity, yeah, he's a product. Yeah, Andy says, yeah, it's hard work, focus and sacrifice. 100% agree with that.
100%.
Yep.
100%. I mean, every day.
Well, there's certain things like you can't. If you hard work, focus and sacrifice, I'm never going to be, I don't know, a professional basketball player because I'm probably not built that way. But there's obviously exceptions to the rule. But
yeah, absolutely.
I don't know. I'm never going to be an opera singer, even if I had hard work and focus. You do need natural talent for some things, like vocals, for example.
Yeah.
But other stuff you can learn, of course.
No matter how talented you are, you still got to get out of bed in the morning.
Yeah.
You know.
So natural assets can help for some things.
Coffee helps as well.
Coffee helps.
Copious amounts of coffee.
Yeah. Ski Jump Toes' point with Ed Sheeran is that he has the talent. He is talented, yes, and it's applied to more mainstream audience. Hence, backing up the raw talent, regardless of. I met Will Hicks, who's Ed Sheeran's vocal producer, and he said Ed Sheeran's just a genuinely nice guy, extremely good in the studio, super polite, good fun, and that's probably one of the reasons why he's become so successful. Obviously, he's talented. He gets on with people. You imagine like these big superstars to be kind of cocky, like arrogant idiots, but apparently Ed Sheeran's just super polite, super nice to everyone. You can see that. You can really see that from him as well. It's
not just success isn't just one thing though, isn't it? It's some things multiplied by other things. You know, like I don't know how best to describe that, but it's not like a lot of people think, it's one thing, it's this, it's that one thing. If I think it's one thing, I can understand it, but it's not the case. It's a combination of things. It's an accumulation of things. It's hard work. It's talent. It's it's mindset. It's all of loads and loads and loads of things together that create success, whatever that means.
Yeah. Andy says Ed's done the time on stage, the good and bad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's put in
absolutely.
the hours.
You don't get to where you are without failure and.
What's I watch on YouTube? Apparently, Jamie Foxx helped discover him, and he slept on Jamie Foxx's couch for a while. And, yeah, he's got it. Yeah.
Ski Jump Toes says, I've heard producers say the same about Gary Barlow, and sorry, and his I can't, and his niceness is why he's had such a long career. I think Warren Hewitt said that, and it was quite surprising, but made sense.
Yeah, I watched a studio session. I can't remember. It's like Gary Barlow in the studio. It's on YouTube. I think it's about an hour or so long, and he can play the piano, man. He is good on the piano, Gary Barlow. I just thought he's like a cheesy pop star, but he knows a lot about structure, knows a lot about harmony, knows a lot about composition.
I like his voice as well.
Yeah,
like his speaking voice.
I feel like we're not allowed to like these popular artists because they're popular. It's like
that's a good point.
Adorno's theory of popular culture. As soon as something becomes popular, it loses its credibility, which
it loses its coolness.
But Ed Sheeran is a talented singer, and so is Gary Barlow. You might think they're cheesy or lame, but yeah, I'm sure they're both very polite and nice. Yeah.
Warren Hewitt is also marvellous.
Right, thank you for sticking by Heavy Metal Mixer 91. See you later. Thank you for
cheers, John.
Being here. Is that John?
Yeah, his name's John. John Currow. Very frequent contributor to the Unlock Your Sound community. Okay. Very grateful to him, as I am for Andy as well.
If anyone's got any more questions, leave them below because we'll be heading off shortly. Yeah. Any more final hints, tips, advice, reflections on vocals?
Reflections on vocals.
Recording reflections. What reverb?
Reflections on vocals. Yeah, avoid reflections. Well, don't actually. I'll tell you what though. I'll tell you what. Actually, this is a good point. This kind of reminds me of when I was mixing James's stuff.
Yeah. And
I actually went, because we did two different versions. One with more bleed in the guitar track and one with less. Mm-hmm. I was so grateful to the one with more.
Why is that? Because
it put the vocal in the space.
Did it sound more like a performance rather than recording?
The vocal sounded three-dimensional.
Yeah.
Without it didn't. And sometimes when I'm mixing a dry vocal and it's studio dry, I'm like, oh my god, I wish there was just a little bit of echo on this.
Yeah.
Just to give it some life, because you know how like it's the sound of recording a vocal and it's dead acoustic, that's unnatural. That's the most unnatural thing. That doesn't exist in real life. That doesn't exist in your brain and how it localizes sound with reflections and depth and stereo and stuff like that. It doesn't. When are you ever in a space where the environment doesn't have an effect on the sound that comes out of your mouth?
Only when I'm in a vocal booth.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
But our brains haven't evolved to use in those conditions to evolve to the point that we localize sound. We localize sound. The way our brain localizes sound is insane. Like the amount of information that it uses, just the distance between the signal and the first reflections, the diffusion. The difference between early reflections and late reflections and all of stuff.
I think a lot of people do that so they can get the same reverb sense. They use the same reverb sounds in every instrument. So if you've got a vocal that's completely dead, you can use the same reverb.
Yeah, yes and no. But I mean, yes and no.
A different sound. Depends.
I mean, first of all, using the same reverb send on all of the instruments isn't as logical as some people will make it out to sound, because you're not using the same reverb send, you're actually using the same place in the room on every instrument.
Yeah.
That's the same as cramming the entire band in the drummer's on the drummer's lap.
Yeah.
That's the same as that, but one reverb isn't one room, it's one place in one room. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So like I was in some of these mixes, I had like 6 different reverb sends going. And they were all different mix amounts,
Yeah, so a question from Ski Jump Tomes. Do you prefer to mix using audio stems on a fresh project, or do you do it yourself in the project with VSTs,
okay,
all in place? What was that there? You've packs, don't you? Is that what it means?
I'm happy to answer this question.
Okay.
Yeah, so I much prefer The solution.
Can you reiterate the question?
Yeah, so Ski Jump Toes asks, and I think that this is the question, do I prefer to work with the artist's software instruments and plugins and stuff like that against their tracks rendered down to audio? If there are zero communications with the client and it just came on my desk and I had a choice, audio.
Okay.
However, communication.
It depends if you've got the same plugins as them. Jess is one, she has some plugins we didn't have.
Yeah, and I actually had to ask her for stems. So there you go. I will work with stems. If time is a thing and I need to get on with it, I will prefer to work with tracks, audio tracks, as opposed to plugins and VSTs and stuff like that, because it's their choice of sound. It's not my job to determine that. If in the process I go, that thing isn't working, it's really compromising the mix, we need to change that, I will have that conversation, because communication is the solution to these problems. I will have that comms with the client and say, okay, cool, I think we should do this, or I think you should remove the thing from that, or try a different thing, because if it musically doesn't work, it's not going to work in the mix.
I would say if this is like a collaboration where you're kind of artists working together, I would have the whole project. But if you're as a mix engineer, you don't really want to.
Yeah, so I went to mixing in that context, but communication is actually the solution. It's the third option and the answer.
If you're there as an audio engineer, don't change their keyboard sound.
But also,
but if you're there to collaborate as artists, two separate artists together, then you might want to do.
But it's also project management, and when I say project management, I don't mean where in the file system you stored the project. I mean the project. Yeah. The project, as in, we are doing this. This is the project, not the project file.
Okay, so from Andy, 2 mics work well for vocals. I like to use 2 mics sometimes just to kind of A/B them after, because one of them just might sound better.
Yeah, sometimes it's that you're not losing anything by having 2 mics or 3 or whatever. T-Racks. Andy says T-Racks are more versatile, more complex though. Stems are tracks. T-Racks.
Oh, I was like, what's T-Racks? Is that some kind of plugin?
Yeah, sounds cool. Yeah. It's tracks. Tracks are more versatile, more complex though. Stems are easier to work with, especially if you have 40 plus tracks.
It depends if you've got the plugin. Yeah. It depends if you're using the same digital audio workstation. If they're using, I don't know, Pro Tools and you don't use Pro Tools,
I need to make a point about this, because there's a lot of confusion about the difference between tracks and stems. So when you record vocals, bass, all of the drums, all of the things, those are tracks.
So it's a snare. Is that
a snare? If you've got a microphone for it, it's a track.
Not stem.
It's not a stem.
What would a stem be?
Drums.
Drums. Okay.
Yeah. Nearly everyone these days says stems when they mean tracks, right? But tracks now mean songs. Like, it all got messed up. That's not what tracks are. Tracks are tracks. You know, like if you go to a massive train station, all the platforms are different tracks, aren't they? Different actual physical tracks that the trains go on. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. That's as far as I can take that analogy.
A and B platforms. So. Okay, so ski jump tones. I was thinking as I struggle with mixing to draw the line under the song construction process, render to stems, and then mix from that point. Hence the earlier question.
Yeah. So stems work until the stuff that's inside the stem isn't working. You kind of need to do it carefully. So theoretically stems will work until I go, I really need that snare down.
Yeah. Against
the other drums. If that's not the case, I don't need the snare down, and the stem is fine, and I can mix the stems, then cool. But I wouldn't default to doing it. Stems is a group of tracks bounced down into one track, one audio file. Stems, VCAs. So technically VCAs are another thing. A VCA isn't either of these things, actually. A VCA is a modulator, meaning a VCA doesn't have audio. But I know what you mean, and it's another borrowed word with stems and groups. But a VCA, technically, a voltage-controlled amplifier, is a fader that modulates the volume of something else or a group of instruments. So I've got VCA fader here. It's controlling all of these. There's no audio going in this. It's just a thing. But if I turn it down, all of these effectively get turned down by 5 dB or whatever I did. Voltage controlled amplifier.
I'm looking at this question from the Digital Music Masters Facebook group that's popped up on our screen.
Is Massive dead?
It's Massive dead. Massive the synth.
Yeah, I know. I love the way Massive's capitalised in the question as well. Like, yeah.
I feel like Massive is less popular than it was. It was like the synth like 4 years ago. But like because of Skrillex and people like that. It's got 4 oscillators. It is pretty awesome. It's a complex synth, but maybe it's less popular than it was. I wouldn't say it's dead.
Does it matter? If I have Massive and I love it, does it matter?
I used to use Massive all the time, but now I normally use Serum a lot more, personally.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like, does it matter? Like, does it...
I think it had kind of too much, if anything.
But
Serum's just a lot more simple.
But I don't, you know...
No, I just think it was the kind of cool,
sexy
synth for now.
But I think
stuff will come along.
The two coexist, though.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
They're not... As long as they're not exactly the same, someone's going to prefer Massive and someone's going to prefer Serum.
Yeah. Have them both. Yeah. Serum, says Andy. Yeah, I do like Serum. Yeah.
I have no affiliation or romance about Massive, but I feel like I should support them right now.
Well,
like they're like the underdog,
table,
you know.
Yeah, I like it.
Massive is good though.
It's got 4 oscillators, which sometimes is too much. Do you really need 4 oscillators? But you've got it there in case you do.
Did you see that patch that I made in the sound design course? That would not have been possible with just 4 us. Yeah. Wait, that was effectively like 16 oscillators, and they're all like DJing slightly. Do you remember that one, that really trancey, really cool? Sorry. Any orchestral for the win.
I haven't used that. Have you?
No.
Nope.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Can't comment on 2 and 6. Don't know what that is.
Everyone's just naming their favourites.
Yeah. So, but we like eating Tyrrells. The
vegetable crisps.
The vegetable crisps.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tyrrells do, as well as the N6. They do great crisps. They do like healthy
crisps
that
are fried and covered in salt. But
yeah.
Not potato.
They're vegetarian, but probably cooked in animal fat.
Fab Filter.
Yeah, Fab Filter.
Yeah, Fab Filter's cool.
Fab Filter, their EQ is insane, but TDR Nova has won.
I'm going to bring up this question now, just to annoy,
has won my
just
EQ.
To annoy Chris, just before we go. Quiz. What's your favourite plugin and why?
Tokyo Dawn Labs Nova Gentleman's Edition.
TDR Nova.
TDR Nova. Yeah. Actually, sorry. TDR stands for Tokyo Dawn Records.
Is that the EQ?
Dynamic equalizer.
EQ, yeah.
But it's actually a dynamic EQ, a wideband compressor.
Oh, Ski Jump Toes likes it, yeah.
Boom! That you recommend.
Dynamic EQ,
because I go on and on and on and on and
you
on.
need to get some kind of deal with them.
Oh, mate, they owe me cash. Like, they owe me so much cash. But you know, I'll let it slide. You know, I should be like their marketing guy.
Should, yeah. So I hope you found this live stream interesting or entertaining. Answer questions. Got questions now. Put them quickly just before we head off. And we're going to shoot off. We're doing a lot of filming today. Yeah.
Been a big day today.
Been a big day. Yeah. What compressors do you reach for by default, says Ski Jump Tones?
Logic.
Logic one, yeah.
Logic. Because Logic is actually
awesome.
Logic's compressor is one of the most underrated tools in music production because it has so many different flavors of compression just built in. But not only that, like if I want to switch to VCA compression or a really crunchy compression, I don't have to like load another plugin. I just change the circuitry by pressing a button, and it's really good.
Yeah, Logic one is.
Cheers, Andy.
It's pretty cool. Do you see the cheat sheet for the Logic compression over Logic help forums? No. Did you see the cheat sheet? I don't really know what you mean by cheat sheet.
No, I think there is a cheat sheet going around. I haven't actually looked at it about the different styles of compression in Logic. but
Might check it out.
yeah.
I presume it's just like a.
I don't know. I haven't seen it.
Guide, I guess. Yeah.
Maybe, yeah, maybe.
Which compressors you go for, Ski Jump Toes? Are you a Logic user? Of course there are the stock ones over DAWs, but the Logic one is pretty awesome, in my opinion.
Huh? Yeah, it's really, really good. Yeah, it's really. Slate ones are great as well. Slate ones are like, there are some really aggressive ones in there, and if you if you drive a load of gain into them.
There's that Waves one that emulates the SSL desk. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, there's like all those all that channel stuff as well, which is good. Channel plugins are quite good. Quite a good idea. Klanghelm. I only use Klanghelm. I only use their meter, their VUMT VU meter. Klanghelm VUMT, 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 volume unit. I don't know what the MT stands for actually. Shouldn't have started to explain something I don't know.
Yep. So I think we're gonna head off. So thank you for watching this one about kind of like microphones.
Loads of things. Compression.
Compression. Last minute questions. Put it now before we head off. Thank you for watching DMM show episode
3.
3.
The number
3. Yeah. We'll be on next week at GMT, so UK time at 7 PM. So next Wednesday, 7 PM, if you want to join us there for episode 4. Keep checking this space. It's the Thomas George YouTube channel. If you want to ask us questions throughout the week, but obviously won't be in live time, head over to Digital Music Masters Facebook group. So it's facebook.com/groups/Digital Music Masters. Or if you just search for Digital Music Masters on Facebook, it should pop up. It's a private group. If you just ask to join that group, we'll let you in. It's a place where you can share ideas and talk about music production with Christopher, myself, and all the other members.
Ski Jump Toes, anything we can do to help you, that's really, really cool. I mean, if you get value out of this, just spread the word. That's the only thing that we could possibly
tell
ask.
your other friends into music production.
Yeah,
that'd be awesome.
I nearly just said your name. The Facebook group, probably.
Yeah.
The Facebook group.
Digital Music Masters.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's it, really. Because that's where most of the activity happens, you know. And if you're in the Facebook group, you're going to be aware of everything that's happening.
Yeah. So we check it every day. So be sure to join if you're not already a member.
So yeah, just spread the word. Thank you very much.
Thank you for watching, everyone. We'll hopefully see you in DMM episode 4 next Wednesday, 7 PM. Thank you for everyone that's joined.
Cheers.